What's up, Fox? Dan Fox here, and today we are talking about 2020. Oh, 2020. So many things to say, and I'm going to tell you right now, I am very fortunate in terms of the fact that COVID hasn't really affected my family personally. So with that out of the way, I want to talk about how my year has went, since I haven't really been affected by COVID because I pretty much stayed inside all year, except for, of course, before when COVID wasn't a thing. So with that said, let's start off with the timeline of 2020 from January to December, talking about some videos that stood out, as well as just my personal life as well. And then I'll talk about some things that, a little bit of advice that I've learned because I've had to deal with some mental health issues in this year. And then finishing it off with the resolutions that I have for 2021, specifically with this YouTube channel. Playing Gears 5 in 2020 was my first video that wasn't looking back on 2019. And then as we go along, I played some Minecraft, Gears of War, lots of Gears of War. The Witcher series came out. It seems like a pretty regular year for the most part up until quarantine happened. And even then, my videos stayed pretty consistent with what I did at the time, which was just Let's Plays. And I did a lot of Gears, that's for sure. I think this is probably the most Gears heavy year that I've had. I think even more than when I did Gears 4. I played a lot of Gears 5 because it was fun. So that was what my channel revolved around in the beginning months. And, oh god, even thinking about January is weird. So I returned, I was back to school for my second semester, my last semester of high school. And I remember taking college algebra, which actually means that I don't have to take math in college, which is pretty awesome. Oh lord, I don't remember any other classes I took. But that was the point. Last semester was supposed to be a very, very easy semester for me, and for the most part it was, which was good because I started dealing with a lot of issues this year. Particularly, even before COVID started, a lot of my friends up and dipped. And obviously that's something that happens as we all get ready to go to college later on in life and go and take different paths. It's understandable that you want to start hanging out with people and everything like that. So I was left eating lunch in my 2008 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Can't believe that was this year. It feels like a million years ago, but if you couldn't tell, this year is going to be hard for my mental health, so strap in. February rolled around. The only thing that's memorable there is my dad's birthday. I forgot to get him a card this year. I also forgot to get my mom a card this year. Both of their birthdays are in February, but the reason why I say my dad's is because his is on Valentine's Day, which is why it's memorable. My mom's is 3 days ahead of him. I'm so sorry, Mom. I love you very much. But they share their birthday on the same day, which is usually Valentine's Day. At least that's when we have the cake. We're going to move on from this subject. March happened. So actually February I think was maybe we went in February. It could have been very early March that I went to my last Nuggets game. I'm a big fan of the Nuggets, somewhat. Sometimes I'm more of a fan of the people that they play, but I'm a big fan of basketball, especially when it's played live, and we're lucky enough to get live seats. So I actually went to one of the very last games played in the NBA before COVID was like, yo, vid. During this time, of course, well, actually, I don't think any of you know this, but my mom went into surgery. It was a pretty tense time. This was the time that was very interesting because I actually ended up taking a day off before we got the notification that we were going to have a 2-week-long spring break for COVID. So I was actually out of school anyway for my mom's surgery, and then all of a sudden I get a message saying that for 2 weeks we'd have a spring break. And of course, me being naive and 17 years old wanting to get out of the hellhole was like, yeah, this is awesome, we're having a long spring break. Fuck. So my mom's surgery went well. She recovered pretty quickly for her condition. I would say that she wasn't completely normal within the first 2 weeks, but she was pretty, she wasn't in a lot of pain, it didn't seem like, and she was very much doing her thing. So then, of course, after about a month, she was completely back to normal. During this time as well, I talked about this, and you've seen the difference. We were moving, and that was hell and a half. So as soon as Mom recovered from her surgery, we started looking at houses. And that was a very interesting thing because that was during COVID. The cases were down in Colorado, luckily, so we were able to tour a few houses with masks on and everything like that. But that was a very tense situation for us because at any moment the housing market could have shut down from COVID. Realtors could have stopped working, things like that. So we had to really hope that that didn't happen. It took until about May for us to get confirmed that we were getting into this house, which is a very stressful time. I remember my mom crying about it, which sucked. But it was a very tense beginning of COVID. And then things started settling on in. As May rolled around, we started moving into the house, which was awesome. I think we moved in, or at least celebrated my birthday here at this house. I definitely celebrated here at this house, which was awesome because at the time I was having a lot of anxiety about a little thing called asbestos. And this is where my crippling fear of anxiety and paranoia starts reeling in, as I talked about before. I do have issues with anxiety, for those of you who don't know. So I tend to hinge on one thing, and that one thing at the time was asbestos. So that was a whole thing, and you're welcome to listen to that. Maybe I'll do a podcast one day or an hour-long special of that, because that could be a whole story in and of itself. But with that said, we ended up moving in here, and everything went to hell and back. There was no way we were going back to school. I was completely online. We didn't have a graduation. That was pretty obvious. We did have like a car graduation, but that was not good. I don't even think there's many words to say it. It just was not that good. It kind of sucked, because I hated high school. Really and truly, there was a lot of times where I just couldn't, there was no motivation. So being able to, struggling through these 4 years that I was trapped inside of a system I didn't want to be in, I was hoping at least I'd get a piece of paper by the end of it, but I had to do a drive-through and get the diploma instead of having the last year. And then summer rolled around. Luckily for Colorado, the cases prayed steady low. Luckily for us, the COVID cases stayed pretty low, which was really good. It meant that I could have friends over. Only close friends. I was very, very restrictive, even when the COVID cases were down to 2 or 3%. I only had close friends over for limited amounts of times. I built my friend a PC, who then decided the Xbox was better, which was pretty awesome. I can't believe it feels like that was yesterday. That had to have been later on in summer. Summer was very, very uneventful. Let me check if there were any videos over the summer that were interesting. Oh shit, I started a TikTok. I totally forgot about that. So I started a TikTok. It went pretty south pretty fast. And I made a video about it affecting my mental health. But I started to manage it a lot better. And now I actually like doing TikToks. I don't make it a part of my daily routine to scroll through comments and get hate and everything like that. These days I just do it for fun, and it seems to work out pretty well. I've got about 3,500 followers over there, which is pretty awesome. And all the while I was sitting here on summer getting absolutely hyped. Back in February, I took a tour of my college campus. Before COVID was even really a thing, I don't even think we heard about it yet. And we were all taking a tour of the college campus. It was pretty awesome. And I was really, really excited to go to college. That was my silver lining. I didn't get my graduation. Senior year was really hard. So hopefully we will walk into the late semester of 2020 going into college, having a lot of fun. Boom, lockdown. I want to fucking die. There goes the silver lining I had. And that plummeted. I was still going to college, but there was no hype around it. There was no introduction, meeting friends, or anything like that. And I'll talk about college as we go on later into the year. But summer, I was still holding on to the string of faith of college. But otherwise, some of the more eventful things was I did my first tech review on this channel, the laptop unboxing, as well as the GTX 470. And this is when I started getting a feel for being a tech channel, which I ended up really liking. So I interspersed some Gears videos as well as the tech videos, and that seemed to be like the process was don't really solidify yourself. Make sure you're still a little bit lucid to do what you want to do. So most of summer was spent doing that. I really dug into my videos. In summer, May 20th, I turned 18, so I turned into an adult. Sure didn't feel like it. It felt like a normal summer, except for the fact that I was stuck inside 24/7. I still don't feel 18, to be honest with you, because I haven't had any sort of adult experience. As summer ended, we went into college, so August was when I started going to college. I met my roommate, we talked, and that lasted for a whopping 3 weeks, if that. I was there for about 3 weeks. And then you saw the aftermath of that in my drinking LaCroix video, where I was pretty much broke down crying in my car, which was also broken down at the time. So yeah, my car broke down. It was like pretty much the textbook definition of a bad omen. My car broke. College sucked. I had one in-person class and one recitation in person, and that was it. So I was pretty much paying $25,000 to stay at an establishment that was asking for me to pretty much pay up to live in my dorm and do online classes. So I told my parents it's not worth it. Don't spend the money. I'm just going to go back home and do it online because honestly I hated college. And there were a lot of things that could have been done a lot better. And hopefully next year's better in that regard. And as things open up, college is completely different. That's what I want is a college experience. That's why I want to go to college, is to meet new friends, have a good clique of people, things like that. But the problem with this year is that there's no avenue to do that. It was all stay inside. You cannot talk to people at all. They had such strict restrictions that it was impossible to make friends. But of course, the restrictions were broken because they were so firm. If they had sanctions around meetings and stuff like that, where you have to be 6 feet apart, you're in masks, people wouldn't have broken it, and we wouldn't have gotten a sudden spur of cases to the point where they found like 2,500 cases in the shit that we had because they were inspecting the waters of the sewer. So that was about college, was the fact college was pretty much the sewer that was stuck with COVID. I mean, I was there for 3 weeks. I said, fuck it, walked out and left that place because that was hell and a half. And that was probably the worst week I've ever had. I mean, I am not going to lie to you. That was like my lowest point. And I really hope the next year is better. If I even go back next year, and I'll talk about that. Stint in college, and I came back here, and I started doing tech reviews full time. I was still doing video games, reviewing Mountain Dew. I stayed pretty latent on my YouTube channel. I wonder what I was doing. Because these days I'm a little bit latent on my channel, but I'll talk about that too in the terms of 2021 resolutions. But for the first few months I was here, I barely uploaded, and I don't think I was doing anything. I must have just been really fried from college because, oh my god, was college stressful. Even when you're not in class, I'm going to be completely honest with you, I fucked up. I failed all but one of my classes. Next semester will be different. I am very much more driven next semester, but yeah, I failed every single one of my classes, and that was so much unbelievable stress on me because I was constantly trying to claw my way back up until eventually I said, you know what, we're done here. There's no possible way I can pass any of these classes, so I just dropped them, passed the one class I knew I could, and that's what I walked out with. Luckily, my AP classes in high school still mean that I have 9 credits, so it wasn't the worst thing in the world. I only have to make up one class. Then I started switching to a full-on tech channel, which I've been doing since, except for the Gears 5 Hivebusters and Fox Den House Tour, and I think that's going to be a return to form. I'm a very, very small YouTuber in the grand scheme of things. I still haven't hit 1,000, and to be honest, I expected to hit 1,000 back in May. So, but I'm not ever going to blame you for that. You're watching this video, you know, and the community that I have around this channel is awesome. It was my fault for not uploading consistently at all in this past 2 months that really caused the nail in the coffin. And I want to start going back, and I'm going to start talking about 2021 now and the resolutions that I have for 2021. Number 1, I may start bringing back gaming to this channel. I've been hankering to do some escape maps again like I used to do. And CSGO I've been playing a lot of, so I think having a funny moments CSGO video would be a lot of fun. Tech reviews should be more consistent, but I'm not going to treat this like a job. I'm not going to treat this like a career path, where when I was treating it like a career, I was doing 5 videos a day, absolutely burned out, hating making YouTube videos. So I'm just going to do the way I used to do, where 3 videos a week is the goal, and that's that. I'm not going to go all the way in, and that's because I developed another hobby in these past month or so, I should say. I think I started in the last week of November, but I started writing, which is a much more accessible avenue in terms of revenue. I've been getting actually quite a bit of revenue from writing, so I've been spending more time on that, which is why I haven't been making a whole lot of videos on here. That I am more than happy to explain. I will actually take that with stride. Usually when I miss videos, I am sorry. I say I'm sorry and all that. This time I'm gonna say, I think I did what was right for me at the time. Because to be honest with you, I am having a lot of fun writing, and I'm glad to do it, and it's making me some money. So I'm not going to lie to you, I'm enjoying it. I don't like the fact that it hindered my YouTube channel as much as it did, but I am going to reverse that, and that is something that I can promise you. 3 videos a week should not be that hard for me to do on top of writing. And the very minimal class load I'll be having next semester. So that's my goals, to make more videos that I want to do, but also make sure that I don't burn myself out. To everybody who has been here with me since, I started back in 2017, thank you very much. I know you still watch, and that absolutely brings me an amount of joy that I don't think I ever expected. So thank you very much for that. And yeah, in terms of mental health, this year was terrible. Hands down. It was. If there's one thing that I've learned this year, and I want to bestow onto you, there's a few things. Number one, life is never constant. You're never going to be happy. And I don't mean that in a bad way. You're never going to be happy 24/7. You're never going to find an ulterior true happiness that you can cling on to. Shit's going to hit the fan, and one day you're going to be depressed. So live every day of your life that you are happy in the moment. And on the days that you are crashing and burning, do what it takes to make yourself as happy as you can in the situation, and focus on what it is that's making you sad and fix your way out of it. And that is a good way to go about things. And that's something that I think has been actually a very, very good thing for me recently. And what I've been doing for the past few months is doing that, and really it's helped me rebuild a lot. And on top of that, I want to have you do a little something. If you're feeling depressed since this year has been really bad and things like that, when you go to bed or when you wake up in the morning, I want you to ask this question. And actually, it's part of this right here, Memento Mori, is if I died today, would I be happy? And I think that if you treat your moments going to bed or waking up, you treat a few minutes as if you are on your deathbed. Because when you're on your deathbed, you're not going to ever look at the negative parts of your life. Your last moments are always going to be focused on the good things. So focus on the good things in your span of your life, even if it's the small things. For me, I like watching ProZD's videos. So sometimes I'll think about him and the old videos that I used to make and things like that. And that's always a lot of fun. So I actually think that you may not want to ask it in such a morbid way. It's the way I've asked myself, which may not be the healthiest. But just ask yourself, have I lived a good life up until this point? Even that can bring a lot of speculation. Just ask yourself, what are good things I've done in this life? And just think about it for a few minutes. Think about all the good things. And I think it'll really help your mental health. It's helped mine. So I hope I can bestow that onto you. 2021, here I come. I can't wait for you to kick my ass just as much as 2021, or just as much as 2020 did, if not even more. I can't wait to not get the vaccine until summer. I can't wait to not do anything until summer. I can't wait to do jack shit. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like this video, like, subscribe, do what you usually do, and as always, buy yourself something nice.